like, I think there's a lot about Coraline that resonates with a certain experience and depiction of youth,
Queer
especially
youth.
as like a
Yes.
young girl,
Yes.
that feels very precursor to gay awakening in a few years, you
Very
know?
pre-gay, yes.
Yeah.
So Leigh, why don't you give me a little bit of a rundown of what happens in the book?
It's a very similar story. Overall, the plot wise is very, very close. I would say, actually, I think the main difference to me is that they did add that character of the boy in her building in the movie, which again feels like a little straight washing.
Okay, so
Because
you think the book is even more
there's
gay because they literally were like, we're
yeah,
not even gonna have any sort of other like. I mean, I don't
yeah,
think
there's
I
no
wouldn't
other
consider
kids. There's
Wybie
like,
her love interest, quote unquote, but like they could try to be like, oh, this boy is stalking her and blah blah blah.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
think anytime you take a story and you're like, you know what this needs is like another kind of lead character of the opposite gender. It's like, does it
Yes.
though? Does it really? Does any story really need that?
No. Okay, so Wybie
Questionable.
doesn't exist, but the cat is there.
The cat is there, and so the main story is Coraline is she yeah, they move into this new apartment. She's exploring, she's just, going outside and going around the building. You meet the neighbors, you meet Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, who we will for sure be talking more
Yeah.
about. You meet the guy with the mice who can't say her name. And her parents are kind of working a lot and busy, and she's just trying to entertain herself. And she finds this little door and doesn't have the key immediately, but eventually kind of comes across the key, goes through the door into the realm of the beldam, the other mother, and is like, oh, this is fun and new, but like, why are your eyes all fucked up? And like, what's going on, right? And then meets the cat. The cat can talk in the other world and starts realizing like, hey, actually, it's a little sketch and sus over here. Comes up with this plan to leave because the beldam has now trapped her in there and has to hunt down all of the souls of the other children and find her parents who have gone missing, and does all of that, goes back through the door. I do think it's a little different than the movie and how they end the book, because she goes back through the door, but the other mother's hand follows her and
Hmm.
is like trying to get the key back to reopen the door, and so she ends up like trapping it in a well or something.
That's what she does in the movie too.
Oh, does she? I haven't seen the movie in a long
She
time, so
traps the hand in the well, but then after it's like, oh, my parents pay attention to me now, and like we're all in
yeah.
the garden, and like everyone's happy ever after, and like Wybie's grandmother now can go to the house because there's no bad memories there anymore, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So I think general plot wise, the book, I mean, again, it's not a long book, right? Like it is it's kind of a shorter novel, right? It's a quick, easy, fun read if anyone's looking for one. I do recommend it, and I think the thing is maybe one of the reasons for me that reading it feels so gay is it's really hard to get through a story that uses the phrase "other mother" so many
So many
times,
times when you're
so
like,
many
hmm,
times. Um, and
mother.
yeah, and so it's like right off the bat, right? You have this like, here's my mother and here's my other mother. And I also
So
think that
you
it's
ship the mother and the other mother together? Is that what you're saying?
do do we ship someone with the other mother? I think the other mother ships herself with the mother. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
I have this theory, right? Because I mean, first of all, there's something like know when we talked about Summerland last season, and we were like, is this the most, like, far-fetched way for gays to start a family that you could come up with? Is like, we fell in love, but then you broke up with me because you wanted children, and then you got married, and then you shipped me your son, and now your husband died in the war, and we could be together, right? Is there anything more far-fetched than that? And I think the answer might be, like, I am a fairy creature from Nightmare Land who wants to go and abscond with your children and call myself their other mother, and maybe we can just raise them together. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even though I know that's not super her plan.
Yeah, that's never really the active plan.
But okay.
If we're
But
gonna
here's
make it
the
gay,
thing.
she does
If we're gonna
not
make
give a
it-
shit about her. Like, I feel like the other mother's other father character
Right,
is like
is nothing.
is like literally
He's
just
like
a fiction, a figment of her imagination, right? Like, is a
Yes.
monster that she created. Like, she's not in love with him. So, like, she could be in love with the mother on the other side.
when you talk about bearding, I'm pretty sure for me, the ultimate bearding would be, here is a skin suit that I have.
Here's a skin suit man.
Here's
and
a
he will
skin
do
suit
my
fake
he will
man.
do my bidding. Yeah.
Right, who exists only to be an extension of my will in the rooms that I happen to not currently physically be in, so that I can have eyes and ears on my kidnapped child at all times. Like,
Weird.
that feels a little gay, right? Like, he's not really a thing. He's not a person. He's not there. And literally, you know, when she kind of, you know, realizes that Coraline is losing interest in him and that he's not being very convincing, she's like, well, I'm just gonna chuck you down in the basement and turn you into, like, a literal grub monster. Like, that's kind of how the Beldam treats men, and it
honestly
feels...
this is giving me like the Babadook is queer culture.
Yes,
like
yes, that's exactly
like,
what it is.
Yes, the other mother is queer.